Hello friends, and welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today I am going to share with you how I am designing my cottage garden for this summer. I want to add loads of color that are going to attract tons of pollinators to this space. It is one of my favorite gardens ever. It just went through a big revamp this past fall where we completely rescaped, put in a lot of hardscape, retaining walls, landscape lighting, lots of fun things. And now it is the time for me to add those beautiful flowering annuals that are going to attract the pollinators. So I thought it would be fun to bring you along for the ride and kind of share with you my thought process on how I am designing this space for this year. We have got some beautiful proven winner annuals that are going to be introduced in 2026. So we're going to try them out in this space. We are trying out some new genetics to us that we have never grown before. Some beautiful salvias and cleomes and kuffias, those kinds of things. We're going to throw those in there as well. And yes, we are even going to plant some seeds. Jenny is going to put in zinnias and cosmos. Oh my gosh, absolutely love it. I know I'm probably late on planting the seeds, but it is what it is, and there is grace in gardening, and we're just gonna go for it. So to give you an idea of where we are, if you're not familiar with the cottage garden, here we have this lower area. We have 2 beds that I say are sisters. They are not identical twins, and we plant them accordingly. So this is the space that we are going to be in. Also, I know you're going to notice right away, Creekside now it has a water feature here at the house. Yes, we got almost 5 inches of rain in the last 36 hours. We have gotten so much water, which is great. The plants are going to love it. But oh my goodness, we are saturated. So it is going to be a muddy mess today, I am sure, when we are going to be in here gardening. But when we were putting in this new garden with all of the hardscape, we of course had tons of equipment in here, moving gravel around, and clearly we clogged up our French drains here. Jerry actually has a new tool that you attach to the power washer that's supposed to arrive sometime this morning. So if that comes and he tries it out, maybe we'll throw it on camera. That is going to be step 1 to try to clear out the clogged French drains, as opposed to having to dig everything up and lay down new pipe. So yes, we have water. Yes, we know that there's a problem with our drainage system. Perfect. We're moving on to the plants here. So what we're going to do first is, this space really has been neglected since I planted it in the fall. I've just kind of left it alone. There's been other things happening. So we're going to have to get in here and do some weeding. Yes, gardens have weeds. Even if you are a professional gardener that does gardening for a living, you're going to have weeds. So don't feel bad if your garden has weeds. Every single garden on the planet is going to have weeds, my friends. So we're going to come in here. We're going to take care of those. Just pop it out. Should not be a hard thing since we got 5 inches of rain. We've also got some perennials that need to be deadheaded. My sweet little foxgloves, they just took a beating in this rain, so we're going to prune those back. My peony is done blooming for the season, so we're going to take care of her, clean her up a little bit. And then we are also going to go ahead, I've shown you this before, I'm going to show you it again. We're going to go ahead and trim back our lemon meringue baptisia and our amsonia. They have finished blooming for the season. They are big, they are beautiful, they love life, they love being here. They have been here for probably 6-7 years, I would say, at least. So they're huge. The best way to manage and kind of keep your baptisia and your amsonia under control so they don't get super floppy is to go ahead and prune them. So we're going to cut them back basically by half. They're not going to rebloom, but what will happen is when they send out that new foliage, it'll be super nice and tight and it won't flop. Jackson, my sweet 15-year-old son, he is the baby of the family. It was, of course, just Mother's Day not too long ago. And so for Mother's Day, he gave me a new tool. They are the steel, they're the handheld garden shears. Oh my gosh. So we are going to test these out for the first time today, using them on those baptisias and the amsonia, and probably because it comes with another attachment as well, I think I'm going to go ahead and kind of maybe shape up my boxwoods just a little bit as well. Really, I don't know where this day is going to go. I do know that this bed is not going to be actually completed today, in the fact of totally done because I need to lay down the drip irrigation and we need to remulch in here. That will be the final stamp of approval on this garden, but because it's so wet and because I've got so many plants that I want to put in today, I'm trying to work realistically because a lot of times my brain says that I can do all these things and then I kill myself and either it doesn't always happen or whatever. So we're gonna take baby steps today because we do have a lot of fun plants to put in here. So some of the new genetics that we're gonna try today, we have got a beautiful Cleome. You know that I'm a huge fan of Cleomes. This is the CeeLo Magenta, and this is a beautiful Cleome from Dan Zinger. Those are the genetics of this plant, and so gorgeous, nice pink flowers on it. Nice kind of a deeper pink, it looks like, than like Senorita Rosalita. So we've got those. We've also got, of course, the Cubano Cristo Kufia. Bat face is also what it's known as because when you look at the little tiny little blooms, it looks like a little face of a bat. So really fun. I love kind of this pinky red maroon color. Hummingbirds, of course, love this. So we're going to use that in here as well. We're going to put in two different salvias. One is the new genetics also. This is massive, huge, hot pink magenta flowers on it. This particular plant is the Plum Crazy Salvia. Beautiful. It's still going to get kind of big in the fact of that like 3.5, 4 feet. So we're going to use those, of course, in the back of the garden. I don't want to put tons. I don't want to fill in a bunch of the tall stuff in the back because we don't want to hide the wall, right? We spend all the time, energy, and money building this wall. We want to see the wall. So I'm going to be selective with where I put these guys. Now, I'm not using every single plant. There's like a tray of 10 here. I probably won't use all 10, especially of these because they get to be so nice and big. Then for kind of a bit of a darker color, we've got this beautiful Coleus. And so this is the Flamethrower Adobo Pink, and it can do sun or shade, and this is going to be only about like 12 to 18 inches tall, which is perfect. So I can tuck these in little nooks and crannies to give me kind of that nicer, darker color. Has a little bit of green on there, that pink, love that. So we've got those. Then we've got proven winners, brand new for 2026. They are introducing a new Supertunia Vista. And so here we have Cool Jazz. I want to say, if I can find a tag. Here we go. Yes, Supertunia Vista Cool Jazz. Really kind of a neat color because it's kind of lavender. It's kind of pink, has a little bit of purple to it. So it has some interesting different colors. I guess it's all kind of in the eye of the beholder. But so we're gonna put these in, and I think what we're gonna do with these, we're gonna put 3 on each side of these hollies. So I'm thinking that we're gonna have kind of an accent right here on the corners around here to make a big pop, a big impact. Because of course those vistas can get nice and vigorous. Have no idea what the vigor is going to be on this guy compared to the other vistas. So we're going to play around with it and have fun with that. Then we've got also one of the new Agastakis from Proven Winners. Again, this will be introduced in 2026. This is part of that Maestro series. Look at that beautiful coral. Isn't that lovely? We already have some of the yellow in here that I planted a couple of weeks ago. So this will be a nice, fun, another great way for your pollinators, your hummingbirds. The hummingbirds and your pollinators love all of these plants. Yes, even petunias. They love petunias. We've got one more salvia because you got to have something blue. I think you got to have something blue in the garden. So we have got the Unplugged So Blue from Proven Winners. This is going to be more of a petite one. It's not going to be super tall like the other, like the Rockin' series. This is going to be in that like 12 to 18 inches on that side. So we've got that. And then you got to have some lantana. I am in the South, my friends, and lantana is a huge attractor for your pollinators. This is the Luscious Royale Cosmo. And it will get about probably in that 2-foot range. So we kind of selective with where we put this as well. Beautiful. And then purple fountain grass. Not sure how many I'm going to use, but I love grasses in the gardens. I have some perennial grasses in here, but again, to add a little bit of darkness, that kind of that nice deep purple movement. It'll of course do the plumes. So I've got that. Then Seeds. Yes, I have got some seeds that we are going to be planting in here because I am a huge fan of cosmos and zinnias. And in fact, that's what's going to be going up in the garden boxes. Again, I am way behind. It is what it is. So what we're going to do is, because on, let's talk about the cottage garden first. So on the cottage garden, we have got two cosmos that we're going to put in here, two different ones. These come from Eden Brothers. So we have got the lemonade cosmo, and then we have the apricot lemonade cosmo. So these are going to be in those kind of those soft yellows. Obviously lemonade is going to be the yellow one. Nice soft yellow. The apricot lemonade is going to be the pink and the yellow one, and they get to be in that 20 to 30 inches tall. So we have got some of those, and then we have got the zinnia, the Queenie Lime Orange. So that's going to kind of tie in between the pinks, the yellows, and then the brighter colors that we're going to do down further on. And the Queenies, I want to say they were in that 20 to 30 inches range as well. So not crazy tall. These, I'm trying to go more petite on these, as opposed to your traditional cosmos and zinnias that can get, you know, 4 or 5 feet tall. So that's, we're going to work these in these two cottage garden beds right here. And then I have my my cages. That way I can put these over where I'm going to put the seeds. And so one, I'll remember where the seeds are. Two, that fur ball over there, that 95-pound fur ball. If she takes off through the garden, she won't crush my brand new little seedlings. So we have got these cloaks right here that we're going to put in. And then I have got more, I think these are all going to be zinnias down here that we're going to come down here to this little spot. So this is part of what I call like the cottage garden extension. So this was new that we planted when we did all of the renovations. So basically the Amsonia was the last of the last plant for the cottage garden that existed, and then all of this is new. I really want to attract as many butterflies, pollinators as I possibly can. So when we planted this with the shrubs and the perennials, I intentionally left holes so that I could put these great annual attractors for our friends. So I have got these are all zinnias, the double Zahara Fire, which is like red. Then we have got double Zahara Bright Orange, obviously. Color on that's pretty self-explanatory. And then the Golden State. That Golden State zinnias are from Eden Brothers. The Zaharas are from Johnny's Seeds. So these are going to be bigger, bolder colors. Your butterflies love those really bold colors. I've got echinaceas in here that are pinks. Yes, I am putting pinks and reds and yellows and oranges. I am putting them together, my friend. I have got the amethyst butterfly bush. So I am not afraid of color, and I am going to have fun with this. So we are going to fill in here, not completely fill it in, but we're going to put some stuff in here. And I also want to plant, I don't know if I'll do it today, I want to put some parsley in here because parsley is a host plant for the swallowtails. So they love that. And then if I can I need to get some milkweed for the monarchs. So there's all sorts of different things that I need to do for this. But step one for today is adding these zinnias in here. So that's what we're going to focus down on. This area will be mostly zinnias, but I may put like some of the cleome and the salvias up top because I've got the space and of course the height for those up there. So first things first, we are going to weed. We're going to weed, and then we're going to go ahead and trim those perennials, and I'll show you how to do that. Alrighty, my friends, so the weeds are out. I always try to say, if you see a weed, pull a weed. Sometimes you see a weed and you walk on by and then you have to come back and get it later. That's what I had to do today. Now we're moving on to pruning the Amsonia and the Baptisia. As far as like pruning the peony, all I did was deadhead it. I'm just taking off those old blooms. They're gonna turn into like those big fat seed heads. I just cleaned up the plant, just deadheaded it, and then let's leave the beautiful foliage for the rest of the season. Same thing with the foxgloves. Just cut those stems all the way back until they're not flopped over, and then they'll just flush back out. Should get some more blooms on those as well. All right, so like I said, we're gonna prune these too. Now, y'all, I'm so excited about to try this new little tool. Now, we're not connected with steel in any way, shape, fashion, or form. Jackson and Jerry went and got these. First, they're using them at production for trimming back some annuals, and they love it. So where you have a steel dealership, I'm sure you can get this. It's the Steel HSA 26. And they're the garden shears. They come with 2 attachments. Obviously, this is like the little safety blade. So you take it off. So there's that. And of course, you have your safety. You have to put your thumb down. Look at that. Isn't that fun? So you have this one, which will be perfect for the Baptisia and the Amsonia. And then it does have a little bit of a different battery. It's just a, if I can get it out. I've never gotten it out before. Oh, there we go. So it's just a little small battery. So it is different than the other steel products, but yet super lightweight. So this is really gonna be fun. Literally just cut the plants, y'all. Don't overthink this. We're just gonna go in there, especially the Amsonia. I love this plant. It is a beautiful plant, but it can get tall and it can get floppy. And so I wanna shear it back so I keep this beautiful foliage, but that it won't take over so much of my garden, and then I can plant other things close by it. The thing you need to know about Amsonia is that when you cut it, it will release this like milky sap. It's very sticky, so I'll probably have to clean my blades afterwards, but it can irritate your skin. So if you have sensitive skin, then you're gonna just wanna put on like some long sleeves. Of course, I'm gonna be wearing gloves. For me, it doesn't bother me. It just is very sticky. So just as an FYI on that. So I'm probably gonna cut this back by at least by half. And then with my Baptisia, I'm just gonna really get in there and prune it back. And I have another lemon meringue down by the lower petalums on the end. I was talking with Jackson, I was like, dude, I got a job for you. Probably not today, because if you did it, those lower petalums are so full of water, you get soaking wet, but it's the time to trim back your lower petalums. They've finished blooming for the season. So if you need to prune lower petalums, now is a great time to do it. Again, same thing with those as these. I don't think you could, it is hard to kill a lower petalum from the pruning. Jerry literally, these used to be in the front of our house. Can you imagine that? Yeah, when we first built our house, we bought those. We were given some wrong information about that they were dwarf. They're not dwarf. They're every bit of like 20 feet tall. So they have literally been moved 3 times and cut down to nubs with chainsaws, and you can see how they are. So I've talked enough, let's get to pruning. Alrighty, my friends, so we have gotten lots of work done, and now the fun begins. So I've gotten everything pruned, I've gotten everything weeded, and I have laid out the annuals and decided like where the zinnias and the cosmos are going to go. So let me give you a little tour, and then I'm going to get everybody in the ground. So let's just start. We're going to work our way from right to left. Basically what I want to do in this garden is I want it to make it look like one cohesive portion as far as the cottage garden goes, and I want to attract pollinators so badly. Already the honeybees are all over these plants. In fact, I made one little honeybee. She was mad at me because I had the agastaki and I was trying to place it down and she couldn't eat it like she wanted to. So it's already working. So we're repeating these plants in and throughout, all amongst the perennials and the shrubs that are here. I want color, I want texture, I want movement in the garden. And then of course I want structure year round. That is where my evergreen shrubs come in. So basically what we're doing is we are just mixing colors and textures. So of course, like the coleus, maybe sometimes I stick the coleus by itself. So there's 3 in this bed. Then like the agastakis, that maestro, I've got 3 of those together to make a big impact. My salvias, they're going to get big by themselves. I only need 1, right? So kind of sticking that off to the side, let that get some height right there. And like the same things, I've got 2 of the cleomes back here. So they can get nice and big. You can see where I've whacked on that baptisia, so they can get nice and big and fill in that area, and they're not going to block anybody's view. Now the foliage that you see in here, those are my little snowflakes. And so those are those early spring flowering bulbs. I'm letting the foliage, hold up all of that energy for next year's blooms. They're going to die back pretty soon. So that's why like I would stick a coleus like as close as I could to the foliage, because they're going to die back. My unplugged so blue, I went ahead and put 2 of those together. Nice impacts will be wide, not crazy tall. And then like I have, this is the white caps Stokes aster. So the white and the blue will look beautiful together. The lantana can handle itself on its own. So that'll give me some height back there, nice mounded habit. And then you'll see that I have like the cages set out for where the seeds are going to go. One plant that I forgot to talk about, because I actually forgot to bring it down and Jerry reminded me, this is a petunia that would be comparable, say, to bubblegum. This is the Color Rush Pink. And so we really wanted to try this Color Rush Pink. It is gorgeous. To me, it's a deeper pink than bubblegum. But the friend that we got them from says that they had that similar habit as the bubblegum, maybe a little bit tighter. So I have got 10 of those basically throughout the whole lower section, dotted all the way down, because we have that Color Rush Pink. And then remember, we actually have bubblegum up here on the top of this wall. So again, that ties in all these beds together, and we get to test out this plant to see how she performs. But just dotting everybody through here. My penstemons, this is the rose rhinestones, which are stunning, y'all. There's 4 plants in there, and they are beautiful. Love this new penstemon. Again, honeybees all over it. The quote, bad thing is, it is that perennial that blooms for that one time, even though it's a nice long time, but I'm not going to have that color throughout the entire summer. So then this is where I fill in with my annuals around it. We're going to have either cosmos or zinnias behind them, so that will kind of fill in right there, and there will be some in front. Did the new Vista lilac here. And I did them both the same with these hollies. And so they have, this is the red sky holly, which is also a great pollinator attractor. The honeybees were all over this, and little tiny pollinators, because it is currently blooming. They are tiny little blooms, but they are blooming, and the pollinators are loving these hollies. So the vistas, I kind of imagined having like a little carpet under each one, and I just put them on the corners. So that way they're on the corners. And then I kept one salvia on top as well, trying to keep this portion of it relatively balanced in here as well. And then I did the kufiyas really only on this side. I didn't really have much room on the other side because this flower bed is smaller than this one. So the kufiyas stay relatively short. So they're gonna be, I think, like 10 inches. So they're gonna be just kind of through on the front down between where the petunias are. I do have some butterfly weed right here, which is getting ready to bloom, which will be, of course, a nice orange. So you have that with the unplugged blue behind, and then kind of that reddish here. So all that's kind of tying in together. There is behind, this is another one of the white caps Stokes asters, and then Riptide is here, which is blue, as you can see. So it is just now starting to open up a great new set of native perennials from our friends at Proven Winners. Yeah, speaking of, look at, can you see that honeybee? She's buzzing around. So yes, so bumblebees are already on lantana throughout, and then I have the grasses, the purple fountain grass. So there's 1, 2, and then a third one is up kind of up top, and there's a cleome up there, and then my other cleomes have fallen down because of the wind. So I've got cleomes through here as well, and then coming on down here, this is all the cages for the zinnias through here. And yeah, so put the agastachys down here, those maestros, they're here as well. Put them in kind of groups of 2 to beef everything kind of up through here. But yeah, so hopefully that makes some kind of sense, and the echinaceas are getting ready to bloom. So what I need to do now is grab my auger. Of course, I'm using the 5-inch Jenny's Edition heavy duty tip. So everybody is going to get their hole drilled, get a little shot of biotone, and then I might broadcast some slow release around. We'll see, just play it by ear. But basically, once I get everybody in the ground, then we gotta do the seeds. So we're gonna get the plants in the ground, and then we'll do the seeds. So when it's time for the seeds, I'll meet you back here. Yeah, I'll meet you back here at some point. How about that? All right, my friends, so today's project is complete, and it looks like I got done in the nick of time because it appears there's another thunderstorm on the way. I mean, just when the mud was starting to dry out a little bit, our lake was starting to go down, and now we get to get a refresh of more rain. It's all right, because it'll actually be kind of good for obviously the plants that I planted, and then we just did those seeds. Not really that they need much water because that soil is saturated, but it feels great to have it done. I know from, you know, the big picture looking out, you really can't tell much of a difference, right? I get that. I understand that. When you're a gardener, you've got to have that future eye. Think about what it's going to look like. And I meant to get the blower to clean up my mess before I showed you this. So pardon still the mess on the retaining walls there. You know, real life gardening here, my friends. So I had already had previously the Maestro Gold planted, the Agastaki, and then adding in that coral is going to be so much fun. Y'all, when I tell you that the bees have already been all over this garden, I am not exaggerating. Like the honeybees are all over these plants. They are instantly happy. So that, of course, makes me very happy. In fact, they're loving this coral Agastaki back here. I don't know if you can see her, but she's in there, and man, she is just feasting away. So, of course, all those beautiful, nice, deep, rich pink petunias, they are going to fill in. And what I have here is some Rudbeckia, so some black-eyed Susans. So just kind of imagine that color, that really rich, bold color of that yellow. So there's 3 in here on the other side of the butterfly house. So there's 1, 2, and then this third one. So I think that's all the 3 that we have of the Rudbeckia in here. And then, of course, just tons of the Fuchsia is Bright Echinacea. Here, what I did was the Sahara Fire, I believe that's what it was called. So those are those like really intense red zinnias. So they're right there. Again, these are dwarf varieties. So they're not gonna be ginormous. I think they max out in that like 20 inches, like are right around there. So the Zaharas are shorter ones. So those 2 I decided to keep as red. And then what I did right here is I did the yellow and the orange. So I mixed them. I can't remember, but it's like say orange, yellow, yellow, orange, or whatever it is. But anyway, so they're in there. No, I did not label them. I just know what's in there. When they start blooming, we'll figure it out. But of course, having those cloaks really does help because like I said, 1, it helps me remember where I planted these seeds. So I'm not like, oh my gosh, there's a weed, and I try to go and pull it. And then case in point, Fluff here, she sees a squirrel on the bird feeder and she's getting ready to take off through the flower bed. Brenna, see, she's focused. She's locked in. B. Hi. Yeah, no. So she's locked in. So when she sees something and she wants to go, she doesn't care what's in front of her. So that's why I have to have those cloaks right there to try to get her so that she doesn't trample everything. So there you go. And then just having, you know, the cleomes through here and the lantanas and the salvias and the purple fountain grasses, the hot pink salvia, the blue salvia, the fun coleus. I just think it's going to be really, really sweet. I do have, though, a hole. I have a hole right here, and then I have one on the corresponding side next door, and I guess technically I could say I have a hole right there too. I do have a ton of different cosmos and zinnia seeds that are going to go up in the boxes. So if I wanted to pull one of those down and instead of putting it in the box and putting them in here, I absolutely could. So here we did the lemonade cosmos and then the Queenie Lime zinnias. And so the zinnias are both going to be here and here. So I tried to make them kind of balance on this side. So those are the zinnias. And then up here, kind of up at the top, those are both the lemonades. And then the, what was it, apricot lemonade? So apricot lemonade is on that one. And then apricot lemonade is back there in the back. So just trying to keep all that balanced in there and make things kind of cohesive. Again, they're not identical twin sisters. They're cousins, if you want to call it, as far as the flower beds. So they go together, but not just, you know, identical. But these penstemons, again, y'all, I don't know, you know, I don't know how shy these bumblebees are, these honeybees, but they are literally all over this plant. And then we've got one already here on this salvia. I mean, she is going to town. She is going all the way in that flower. And I don't know if she's going to come out. She is loving it. Can you see her little hiney? I know it's hard to tell. Here she comes. She's backing out. Here she comes. Oh, anyway, my point is this is going to be a great success. Cannot wait. And so there you go. Ta-da. We will come back through here and run the drip irrigation through here. Now, we have clay soil. We get tons of rain. All I need is enough irrigation that when we hit a very hot, dry spell, that I can run it and I get water. So literally, I could see it being like a total of maybe 4 passes. And because all these shrubs and the perennials here are already established, like I'm thinking like it would wind, but basically 1, 2, 3. I could even maybe get away with 3 of them. Just like I said, enough when it's so hot, because typically when it's not a cloudy day, the sun's been in and out all day today, this spot is hot, which is great for the pollinators and which is great for these plants. But when it stops raining, not so great. So we will come back through and do the drip irrigation and then do a final coat of some more mulch. So that way it keeps the weeds out. And like I said, Jackson's gonna come, and on Friday he's got a bud coming over and they're gonna work together. They're gonna trim the lower petalums for me, and then pretty much then that'll be it. Again, super impressed with these hollies, these red sky hollies, because y'all, they, again, I got a honeybee up here. She's right here. Honeybee is all over it, and then all these other little pollinators are all over these flowers, and those flowers are going to turn into, I think they're blackberries. But yeah, all sorts of bees on here. So don't ever underestimate the power. Like, look at those little sweet, delicate little blooms on it. Underestimate the power of a holly bush or a holly tree when they flower, because man, the pollinators, they love them. So thanks for Southern Living for sending us those. I'm really excited about those. And of course they have all the red sky, because they have their new foliages, those little red tips. So who knew that holly trees were such a great pollinator attractor? Love it. All right, my friends, I'm gonna go clean up Johnny before the storm comes and hits us. If you have found this fun, informative, and inspirational, we would love it if you would like and subscribe to Gardening with Creekside. That way you don't miss those 5 videos that we do each and every week. Y'all have an amazing day, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.